So let's explore the 4 heroes in Hero Quest. And the more I play Hero Quest, the more I jump in to Hero Quest, the more that I can see subtly that these 4 characters are very well represented in the game as a team working together, and kind of in a very simplistic way, or I should say elegant way. Simplistic implies like Model T, early prototype versus something polished and refined. But comparing Hero Quest as an example to some of the characters in modern day or current dungeon crawlers. And if you've been following my channel, you know I love dungeon crawlers. You don't have to sell me on the dungeon crawlers. I love the idea of leveling up, going into the dungeon, getting loot, getting experience, fighting a boss monster. Hopefully there's a dragon at the end. But more and more Hero Quest does it. Because what I think Hero Quest has done is, yes, the characters play different. And that's kind of a hallmark of a party of adventurers going in. We see that in modern design. You want each character to be completely different. So this way, as you play through the game, whether it's a one playthrough or multiple playthroughs, you can play different characters. And even though the adventure is somewhat the same, you get to explore it from different angles, different tactica. And that kind of seems to be the gold standard of how a lot of developers want to think and play. Hero Quest on the surface has that. You know, you've got the barbarian, you've got the dwarf, the elf, and the wizard. Get those primary characters. But if you really look at the game, and no spoilers, but if you play the characters through the missions, what you see is it's actually geared towards complexity. It's geared towards the player level, the experience of the player. So we have the barbarian. Lots of life, body points, health, whatever we want to call it, and the best starting attack dice. Now, of course, you're going to get some gold, and you're going to buy some more gear. You might have some artifacts, but essentially very one-dimensional. And I don't mean that in a bad way. The easiest character to play in that you have one primary goal to get up there and smash stuff with your broadsword. Now, tactically, can you do that? Can you manipulate and manage the movement dice? Can you work with the other characters? But it's the easiest and most direct character to play. Perfect for someone new to the game. Perfect for your first playthrough because it's the most forgiving, just having the most body points early on. And of course, if you get some healing potions and some other things, it'll spread that out. As you advance in the game, as you play through, or if you've had some experience playing some other games, now you look at the dwarf, who has some good life, body points, health. Too many dungeon crawlers, all just mashing together. Okay starting attack dice, but the ability for traps and searching. So now you have a passive skill. So now you have a character that, yes, is going to contribute in combat, but outside of combat, looking for secret doors and searching and doing things, it introduces that layer of complexity. So you can play that character if you want something a little more complex. Then you have the elf. So the elf is this hybrid, and I actually really enjoy playing the elf in that you have access to a deck of spells, but you also have combat spells. Combat ability, and body points is pretty good, actually. You're focused and now have the ability of magic, but it's only in one of the elements, so you have to pick 100% what you're going to focus in. But now you're managing both. So what you find is the elf is kind of like, what's going on in the moment and where do I need to be? It's a very dynamic character because you can plug any holes in combat. You can support magic. You can heal. You can utilize magic to blast. It's literally turn by turn. Where do I need to be? In what position? Again, complexity, moving up. Then we have the wizard, the mage. Full deck of spells, complement. Not the best life, but that's the trade-off. Perhaps the most complex character to play because you're looking at the spells in the moment. And the challenge of that complexity is there's some powerful spells. If it's your first time through a quest, if it's your first time through a dungeon, you don't know. Quest 1, the gargoyle, first time playing it. Going into the catacombs, take out the gargoyle. I know he's there somewhere, but Is this the room that contains the gargoyle, or is there something bigger, something greater out there? You don't want to blow all your spells at the beginning of the game and then make it to the end, and you've got nothing. You've gassed out. But likewise, I don't want to hold back early on because it's going to reduce body points for the rest of the party. If I find any healing potions and we use those immediately, I'll be kind of weak going in to the end fight. I mean, I'll have a lot of spells, but the party resources will be exhausted. And what that means is if the dice swing, if that Chaos Knight rolls legendary, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. So you have some complex management, and you also have some spells like the ability to pass through walls and become mist and move through monsters that add a level of complexity for such a simple game, for something that's looked at simplicity. It's very, very unique. And what I appreciate about it is they're not making characters to be different for the sake of being different. So it's like, look, here's my dungeon crawler, and here's my 20 characters you can pick from. And that's a little bit overwhelming. You've got 4 characters. You're like, okay, the same 4 characters. But those 4 characters, the complexity of play style, straightforward, something with a little bit of passive ability, hybrid, where do you need to be in the moment, or full-on Tactica, I think that's what allows this game to work so well. Because if you're a new player, never played before, take the barbarian. If you've played through it numerous times, again and again and again, play something really complex, like the wizard. It's that level of simplicity equals complexity that I don't think we see as much in many of the modern, current dungeon crawlers. Your thoughts? Yes or no?